so happy to have both of you on with us today because this is a really, really important movie. It touches on so many things that are going on. We like to think that we've come out of a hard time, but we're still kind of in it. And it's great to have this expressed through art. But you must just think, all right, well, it's not. I want to do this. I kind of have to do this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like with a piece like this or that's kind of always a driving force is that need that sits inside of you as a writer, director, as any artist or anybody who's trying to create something really meaningful or trying to be at least. That need is just kind of burning inside to get it out. So
And Alyssa, you must have just thought, when you get something like this, you must think, well, I have to do this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny in my career, I've had definitely times when you sort of go, well, I'd really like to work and this job has come up, so okay, I'll take it. But when it comes to the mental state, when you look thematically at what it's about and, poverty in rural America and mental health crises and like there's an epidemic of teen mental health issues. When something comes along that actually is meaningful to you personally as well, it's like it's the real sweet spot and why I do what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know that there's probably so many intense moments on the set and yeah, you got to decompress, but also probably some nice moments too. Is there a certain memory that each of you have from the set that just kind of always stand out as, I'm going to remember this?
uh yeah, so we filmed a little while ago, but I don't know if I have like a specific memory. I mean, for me, like I grew up making movies with my friends when I was like 10, 11, 12. And so when I bring people to set, even if it's like a really hard subject matter like this, I think one of the things I like to try to do is just try to keep it like a nice, fun community for everyone and just try to kind of keep everybody, on the same page and working and hanging out. And, when it's time to work, we'll turn on the camera and we start to do our work. But outside of that, I mean, I think everybody, most of the cast, everyone got along really well and just had a nice time outside of it. I don't know if I had a specific memory, but yeah.
Yeah, I also think, one of the really fantastic things about independent film is like you're not as separated as you can be on other sets, and everyone's in their own trailers. And what the beauty of independent film to me is like you really have a family, and all of us that have agreed to do it are there because we love the project. And we're all hanging out like before we're on set together. We're not in separate trailers. We're in like a living room of a house that we've been able to get for the day as like everyone's green room. And I just like there's this beautiful bonding that happens, and like more talking about the scenes beforehand because you're all together in that space. And I think it has even more of a family feel to it, and what I really love about it.
I love that. Now, James, this has a special, um, an even more special place in your heart because you've worked, amongst this, I guess, realm of,
Community or
I guess, in this world. Yes.
yeah, so I've done a lot of volunteer work for children and adults with everything from disabilities to behavioral issues to mental health issues. I've also known people who have gone through some severe mental health crises themselves. And so, and I think also a big part of it too is like without, it's tough to talk about the film without kind of giving away where it kind of leads to. But I grew up in a post-Columbine United States, and
Hmm.
for me, it was just strange being a kid and doing lockdown drills and like rehearsing exit strategies in like fifth grade, and kind of sitting with a vague paranoia. And so all of these things, that you experience throughout life, and then when Sandy Hook happened in 2012, I was kind of coming of age into a young adult then, and I was shooting a short in Connecticut not far away from there. And um it just really sat with me, and it just all of these things kind of converging became that need that we were talking about before to get a story like this out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And both of you have had such cool careers so far, and there's so much more to come. But people look up to you, and they see something like this, which will inspire people to tell other great stories. And so, what kind of advice do each of you have for somebody that wants to follow in your footsteps?
Alyssa, you want to start?
This is such a hard question. Because I can speak for actors because that's obviously my experience. And I don't think there is a formula to a career for acting. I wish there was. If you want to make partner at a law firm, there are very specific steps that you take to get to be a partner at a law firm. But when it comes to acting, it is all over the place, and the road is most definitely not linear. The only real advice that I would have is if you're really passionate about acting, you have to remain engaged with it at all times. You never stop learning. I still go to a class if I'm in between jobs, and in LA I still go to my weekly acting class because I love it, and there's always something new to learn or work on. I think remaining engaged in your craft and trying to learn, and just not quitting. I don't really take no for an answer. I got to keep at it. So
I love that.
Yeah, I'd probably suggest something kind of similar of remaining engaged and, exposing yourself to as much of this craft as you can, whether it's watching every new movie that's coming out, watching old films, even if there's like a specific genre that someone's just interested, like explore that entire genre and then just keep making things. I think like it's a bit of a stale saying these days, but filmmaking is so much easier today than it has been ever in the past. And just go out, find your friends, go make a bunch of stuff, even if it's a freaking TikTok video, whatever. I mean, don't do a dance, make a story around it, right? And just keep making and watching, and then also expose yourself to other arts, especially other performance arts and mediums, theater, ballets, orchestra, kind of just expose yourself, which is a very big, broad, vague answer, but mostly just kind of exposure to your craft and just keep doing it.
Yeah, well said. And you'll be very, very happy to know that I have no TikTok dances for anybody.
Mine are saved in a secret file. Don't.
Okay, good.
Don't
All right. Well, my co-host Drew Pearson is one of our Dallas Cowboys greats and NFL great. And caught the Hail Mary, went into the Hall of Fame, and we love to ask people their Hail Mary moment, which is that moment in your life or career where you just had to go for it and it worked out for you. What do you suppose that was for each of you?
Well, okay. First of all, I was just talking about this with Annie before, but my family is a very big Dallas Cowboys fan, so that's awesome.
All right, that's what I like.
So I'm sitting here really clueless right now.
Yeah. It's probably the Hail Mary term is kind of a now universal, more pop culture.
Yeah. No,
because
so it's
there are still people who don't. So.
Yeah, what a fun lead-up question. I think for me, it was when I was in film school. I was in my third year of film school, and my co-film, Ronnie Swenton, who's the DP on this film, he's also a producer, and he and I kind of work on everything together.
And very
he's really
talented.
kind of really, really fantastic cinematographer and filmmaker overall. He and I work on everything together. But when we were in our third year of film school, we had somebody approach us saying like, oh, you can make this made for TV Lifetime movie, which is, not sort of every cinephile's dream and everything, but, there is a market for them. And we were still in film school, and we took a very dirt cheap budget and we made this film and we sold it. And that was kind of like the first feature I kind of built some foundation on as far as starting any sort of career. But it felt like when the idea was first presented, we were like, there's absolutely no way in hell we could do that. you know, but we kind of got together the best of our friends at film school who are now very much working professionals. And it was kind of like our first film for a lot of us who, you know, still get to do this today. So that was kind of a big Hail Mary for us. And we had to
Yeah.
kind of definitely lie. We didn't lie to the school, but we told them we were definitely not using that equipment for anything like that. So yeah.
I love that. Did you have a big moment, Alyssa?
I think I sort of look back to the biggest leap of faith that I took. I was living in New York and modeling, and just very bluntly, I hated it. I was not happy being a model, and it was always going to be a way to do something else, be it like fund myself through school or try to translate it into something. And I had been working on acting and I loved it so much. And I decided to move to LA and just leave everything that I knew in New York, and did not take on a modeling agent in LA, and went for it. And very thankfully I was hired on Vikings like 6 months later. Yeah, but I think I needed to scare myself and just be like, well, I got some money in the savings account, let's see what happens. Yeah.
And if that didn't do it, getting covered in tons of blood for Evil Dead would do it, right?
I definitely went for it with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, obviously this is a you know, a very delicate subject, and you know, some of the scenes seem very, very intense, and you know, you got to keep the mood light on set sometimes. But you know, at the end of the day, you're always thinking about that end goal, you know. And so, is there something that you kept in mind for both of you that kept you on the right path, even when things were tough or some days were hard?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, just trying to remember like the intention of the film the entire
Hmm.
time, and kind of especially the emotional intention and what I was hoping for, you know, obviously kind of building those pillars of empathy and compassion and communication around subject matter like this. And you know, I actually think one of the hardest moments on set for me was very early on with actually a scene that Alyssa was supposed to shoot, because in the sort of final montage of the film, we see Alyssa, you know, among them, we see Alyssa's kind of final scene, um, her being the aunt to one of the characters, and knowing what happens to that other character, it was, you know, I kind of talked to her a little bit before the scene and they were still setting up, and I had to walk away because I was just kind of starting to get in tears about what happens to that other character. And because he was the character, all these characters had been such a big part of me for so long. But you know, again, you just kind of go back to what that was for myself, knowing that's kind of the emotional intention that I'm trying to put out there for everyone else for situations like this. And so, yeah, for me, that was kind of a driving force on set and remembering to get back to things.
Mm.
Well said. And how about for you, Alyssa?
I think, I don't know, I love drama so much. It's really like my passion when it comes to acting, and sort of my first love of genre. And uh I I think it's really quite easy for me to focus and compartmentalize when I need to. It's partly just spending quite a while on set now in my life and having those experiences and the ability to block things out and focus when I need to focus. I think my struggle tends to be holding back and not just be a blobbering mess. So yeah, I kind of I don't know if that answers your question at
Oh yeah.
sort of an easier thing for my brain to do. I think but being able to hold back from the empathy. I remember in an acting class once, I was given a scene where I had to be a doctor and like tell a parent their kid was terminally, and I couldn't get through the scene. Like I really
Oh,
just
yeah.
couldn't get through the scene, and the coach was like, I don't know what to do with you. And I was like, I'm not a doctor. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, of course there's going to be, depending on people's life experiences and, their thoughts on things, they might get something different out of this film, but what is it for each of you that you're hoping that people will remember, or talk about, or think about? Because it's almost impossible to watch this and not sit down and turn to the person next to you and go, okay, hold on, we got to talk about this.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's exactly what, as I kind of mentioned briefly before, that's exactly what I was hoping out of it, right? Is that, kind of trying to expose the audience to a perspective that I haven't seen as much surrounding these sorts of stories, and hoping for the audience to kind of take away some of that, empathy and compassion and new understanding, and just to start that discussion. I mean, even with the original play, that was kind of the intention of the story to begin with as well, is to start these sort of discussions between faculty. It was a high school play, and to start these discussions between faculty and parents and students about teenage mental health, and about some of the other bigger subjects at play. So just communication and empathy is really the biggest things.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think bringing in awareness to all of that, and starting a discussion that I think is really important, be it about teen mental health and the issues there right now, issues with the healthcare system in America that I can be passionate about, and the obstacles that people face having access to resources, and also gun control. I would say that's something else to be talking about and thinking about, and there's a lot to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last thing, I'm excited to ask this question because we haven't been able to really ask it in months, but I'm so excited to see what you guys have next for us. So now that we can discuss everything, what do you guys each have coming up?
Alyssa?
I don't know yet. I'm taking a little time to really try to pick the right thing. A couple of things have come along that haven't quite been right yet. I have just attached myself to something, but we're waiting for funding, and so I can't talk about it. Nothing that I can concretely tell you about right
now. No, that's good. It's good to take the time for the right thing, though, for sure.
Yeah, and just I think, like many filmmakers, always got a lot of pots and stove. I've got a couple things that I've been writing. One is about kind of a grandmother in a nursing home in her remaining years. Another lighthearted topic from James Camali. And then another one is kind of like a horror film that I'll probably try to shoot in spring or summer, about influencers in the woods. I'll leave it there. And then I was also attached to a really awesome project from a writer producer about a guy in his sort of late 20s, early 30s, is sort of coming to terms with his sexual identity while his mother is has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So again, getting those calls for that really light, fun subject matter, but he did write it with a lot of great slice of life humor and stuff. So that's called Somebody Loved, and we're still in the sort of casting process of that. So.
Oh, good. Well, I'm excited to see what each of you have next, but for now, we're so excited that you made this. It's the one that I think people need to see and discuss, and really appreciate your time today, and look forward to talking with both of you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul.
Okay. Thank you so much.